Okay, we're doing chapter 3, the nervous system. It starts on page 36, medical assistant guide. Alrighty, flip on over. Page 37. The nervous system is divided into several structures and systems. The first division that we're going to look at is your central nervous system and your peripheral. Don't get them confused. They're easy. Central. Well, central part of your body. What is in there? Your brain, your spinal cord. Everything else is your periphery. So brain, spinal cord, everything else is periphery. But you do need to know these things. The average brain weighs about how many pounds? 3 pounds. How many billions of neurons are in there? And the spinal cord measures about 16 to 17 inches long. Add that 16 in there. 16 to 17 inches long.
17 to 16, you
16 to 17 inches long.
16.
So again, the central nervous system includes your brain, spinal cord. Spinal cord is located in the vertebral column. That is its protection. Function is to relay information to and from the brain. Again, 16 to 17 inches long. Don't forget that part. And it consists of 31 segments, all broke into different groups: cervical, thoracic, lumbar, sacral, and coccygeal. Don't go thinking too hard on that. Just know that they are separated into different sections. Your thoracic would be your chest area. This area here, that is thoracic. Cervical, this is your cervical, your neck. That's the ones that kind of pull out of. And your spinal nerves exit from each segment of that spinal cord. Your brain, of course, it's located in the skull. It controls actions of the body. And underline, it's made of soft tissue. And they are things that separate each of your body parts from different, especially bones. And there is a layer of separation, more like a cushion. In the brain, that cushion is called meninges. And underline, meninges or connective tissue membranes separate the brain from the skull. All of your body parts have a separation. Again, the brain does not grow, but it does develop, but it does not grow. The brain has several functional subsystems. We've got sensory going on, your motor systems, and your neurotransmitters. All that just systems, things that's happening, coming from your brain. Peripheral nervous system, we're going to drop on over. Page 38. And this is where you're going to have to remember, and it's not going to be hard. Always remember one, and then the other comes. So the peripheral nervous system is divided into two main parts. You've got your somatic and your autonomic. Do know that there's 31 pairs of spinal nerves. We're going to talk about the somatic. Up under somatic, I want you to write skeletal and voluntary. These are your skeletal muscles. You pick up your arm. That's voluntary. You put your arm back down. Voluntary. And somatic, put that S there, skeletal. Somatic, skeletal, and voluntary. And they are peripheral nerve fibers that go to your skeletal muscles. So underline that. It projects to the skeletal muscles. And right up under there, it is voluntary. Voluntary is the magic word there. Somatic, skeletal, voluntary. Get those words in your head. That's it for the somatic. You're doing it. Autonomic. Right up under there, automatic. That is what your body is doing now. You ain't doing nothing to make it happen. Your heart's beating, your digestion system's working, all that good stuff is handling its duties right now. Kidneys, everything is happening on its own. That is automatic. So autonomic is your word that you use. But put those two words together. Autonomic, automatic. And it is divided into three parts. Your sympathetic, just put a 1 on top of that. Parasympathetic, put a 2. And your enteric. You're gonna need to know the difference on what's happening in each of those parts. Where it says the main functions of the sympathetic, that's where your 1 goes, again, on those little dots. Where it says main function of the sympathetic, put a 1 there. Under stress, underline under stress. That comes into play. This is happening automatically under stress. Okay? Number 2 is your parasympathetic. It happens when you are actually relaxing or at rest. And I always put para. That para makes me think paralyzed, which does not mean rest, but it makes me think, you know, you're at rest. Sympathetic, stress, parasympathetic is rest. And then the other one is your enteric. We already know what enteric means, right? Enteral, which means your digestive system. So that is all that's happening automatically in your body. Let's put those together. Sympathetic is under stress, parasympathetic, rest, and your enteric system is your digestive system. All that's happening automatically. Now this next page, you need to just know this whole page. Page 39 or others. Brain structures. All of those structures you need to get in your head. Cerebral cortex. Star, that voluntary movement.
Which
Language.
Brain, what?
Structures.
Yeah.
It should be cerebral cortex, which is your voluntary movement and thought. Those are ones to underline. The cerebellum,
Oh, I skipped her.
movement, posture, and balance. Star, that balance. Brainstem, very, 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 very important. It is our main thing. If we don't have our brainstem going, which is the stem of everything, like the root of everything, that's your stem. Heart rate, breathing, and blood pressure. So put over there vital signs. So what controls your vital signs? Brainstem. Hypothalamus, we talked about that a little bit earlier, about body temperature and add hunger. Know them all, but these you might see again. Thalamus, underline movement and sensory. Limbic system, memory. Hippocampus. I always remember hippocampus because it's campus. It's your learning. Like a school campus. It's your learning. Basal ganglia. Again, basal means it's important. It is movement. Main function is movement. Your midbrain, vision, eye, audition, which means hearing. So those are put on the side your sensories. Midbrain does most of your sensory stuff. And you need to know those. Get that page stuck in your head. They keep coming back to that, asking questions about what brain part, structure, does what. So let's talk about the sense organs of the nervous system. So your nervous system is also part of your sensory system. All those are your nerves that make things happen, that makes you feel, see, taste, all of those. For your eye, of course, vision. Come on down. Don't dig so hard at how the eyes are made, but I do need you to know eyes are connected to the brain through the optic nerve. Optic nerve. You might even have some medications that you see ophthalmic. You need to know what that means. That means it goes into the eye. We're going to test with the Snellen chart. Underline Snellen chart. That's that big old E. When they tell you, look at the E, see what you see, how many lines down you can see. That's the Snellen chart. And a perfect vision is 20/20. Underline that. There's also some defects that happens in our eyes, misshapen eyes, double crossing eyes, lazy eyes, all of the above. Farsightedness and nearsightedness. A lot of people get those mixed up. Tell me what farsightedness means.
Can't see any close up.
Right. A lot of people know that it's opposite, but they say it opposite. Farsighted means you can see far. Nearsighted means I can see near, just as the word is. So do it that way. It is opposite, but a lot of people think it means opposite, different. But the word itself says farsighted. So by definition, that means I can see far, and that's what it means. If I'm farsighted, I can see far. If I'm nearsighted, I can see near. So what people think opposite means that you can't see. Farsighted means you can't see near. So don't take that opposite. I've actually had people argue with me about what they mean. But it is actually a word that means what it means. Farsighted means I can see far. So don't switch those up. The ear. Come on down, you know what your ears are. People exposed to loud noise for long periods may be affected by tinnitus. And then underline that definition. That's that last sentence there. Tinnitus is characterized by symptoms such as constant buzzing, whistling, and add ringing. Ringing. Ringing.
Okay.
I might have said ringing. That's my speech right there. Nose. Smell. And we're going to need to know these diseases. They're not terrible diseases to have, but hyponosmia and anosmia. So hypo would mean what? Low smell. You have decreased smelling. And anosmia would mean, no ma'am. What's a mean? Absent of. Of smell. Don't get those messed up. I know where y'all went. Y'all went to hyper. But it's anosmia means absent of. So that's that last one too. Underline that. Anosmia is a condition of the inability to smell at all. The tongue. We know what it does. I love my tongue. If I didn't have my tongue, I wouldn't love food so much. But it is there. And it is the organ of taste. And the receptors there, we call them taste buds. Just write, underline receptors called taste buds. And it's a combination of salt, sweety, bitter, sour, and it's all the different parts of the tongue. We're not going to have to label those or nothing. Just know that they are there to create your taste. Come on down to the disorders. Hypoglycemia. What you think that means? Low taste. And agnosia. No taste. And that's the last two definitions there. Just underline them. Hypo means the reduced ability to taste. And agnosia means no sense of taste. I probably would still eat. But I just wouldn't enjoy it as much. The body, which is your skin. Put skin beside it. Yes, body. Put skin beside it. It is your organ of touch. Come on down. We know what our skin is. Got nerve endings all over everywhere. But there are four types of touch sensations. Contact, heat, cold, and pain. And sometimes they'll call contact pressure. But that's the same as what we're going to be feeling. So, the disorder there that they list, in some cases, a child may have little or even no sense of touch, and they call it congenital analgesia. Underline that. That means, and it gives you the rest of the definition in the next line, where it said the child will have no sense of pain. And it happens. Those children will break their bones and everything because they don't know it hurts. They don't know. They fall out of a tree, they're okay, but they're all broken up. They need to go to the emergency room like ASAP, but they think they can get up and walk and will tear their bodies up. But that's called congenital analgesia. So some common medical conditions. Y'all probably know about these as well. Cataracts, underlying clouding of the eye lens. Cataracts, clouding. Put those two together. Anytime you can find a good way to remember something, let us know. If you have got different ways to remember stuff. I've got my little ways that I remember learning, but you know, anything you got that can help you remember, tell the class, because they may remember it better like that as well. That just reminded me. Cataracts, clouding. Symptoms, underline that. And this is how the rest of the book is kind of going. you're gonna have a disease, you're gonna have symptoms, you're gonna have how we're gonna fix it or how we're gonna diagnose it, and then how we're gonna treat it. And that's how your diseases are gonna go from, I think it's this chapter on. So symptoms: sensitivity to light and glare, double vision, color intensity, loss or blurred vision. And how we're gonna check it? We diagnose it by using eye exams, and pretty much you'll see that clouding. When it gets real bad, eye is totally gray. Not the pretty gray that you see, like, you know, in your eyes when your eyes are gray. Your whole eye is gray, like zombie gray. And that's, I've seen a man, he actually put up my sign and asked me to help him. And I always say that. He asked me to help him hold the sign. And he couldn't, all I seen was like, this man can't see so good. And he had this big old drill in his hand. I said, Lord, he's going to tear my fingers up. But he could see through that. So it's amazing. I mean, his eyes was totally gray, like gray. But he could see through them. But and he actually did detailed wood stuff. He would redo little pieces of wood. He made a lot of money redoing wood pieces. And but them cataracts is no joke. He needed some surgery though. How are we gonna fix it? Treatment: eyeglasses, magnifying glasses, changes in lighting, and add surgery. Now we got surgery, we can remove those cataracts. Give him a good clear lens and be good to go. Remember, we're talking about our nervous system, nerves, spinal cord, all that stuff comes from there. Your epilepsy, underline, it is a brain disorder that causes repeated seizures. Not just a seizure, repeated seizures. That's what epilepsy is. And then come on down to where it differentiates your seizures. You got focal or partial seizures. And sometimes those are the ones that just stare for a second. You can't really see them shaking to death. But they may stare. A lot of children have those. They grow out of it. But not always. But that's a sign that maybe later in life they'll have some big ones. But a lot of them will just stare. Be still. But the sure sign of a seizure, they're going to be so tired afterwards, like they done went and exercised and lifted 1,000 pounds, because that's how your brain takes it. It is your nervous, all your nerves, all of them synapses in your head going wrong, and you got a lot of them. And if that messes up, then your body reacts to that. Petit mal or absent seizures, that's again, that might be that staring child. And it really depends on what's moving and how they react. But both of those are more smaller seizures. And then you have the grand mal, where it's tonic-clonic, meaning this is tonic-clonic. When they are taking tonic and clonic, means that. And those can get bigger to smaller too. Sometimes it's the whole body of everything. And those are the ones that really, I'm seeing a man just have a seizure, 30-second seizure right afterwards. Snore, as soon as he's done. And that's about when you know it's real, when they are so tired. I had a lady, she faked her seizures, and I called her. I said, I'm gonna get this lady right here. She kept on, because you really can't tell when people's having seizures, because she was shaking, she was doing that. And she sold Mary Kay, and I didn't know it till I went to her room, because I was like, why is this lady having a seizure at this time? Because detoxing patients have seizures. I said, she's out of detox, she's been here, she shouldn't be having no seizure. And this is her first time, so it may have been her first time. But I went in to look in her room to see if she had some drugs or something that she'd been taking. Anyway, and seen that she sold Mary Kay. And when I came back out there, I said, this lady might be faking. You never know. We treat them all the same. We rush to them just like it's a real seizure. We take care of them just like it's a real seizure. You never know. But I just was talking to her, and I asked her, I said, well, I didn't know you sold Mary Kay. And she just was like, yeah. They're not going to respond to you. They're not into nothing. Their synapses is so messed up, they're not listening. They're not hearing. They're not comprehending. And if they're sitting there talking to you, that is not a seizure. And I just left her alone and let her seize until she almost fell out her chair. I sure did.
I was a patient at the hospital like that. Like every time I walk in and get ready to stick me, she'll go having a seizure. And she had her family like the girl went in there to go stick me, and when she got
You
ready
worry
to
about them
stick
because you don't know.
she started having her seizure, and it's like she turned around, she's like she having a seizure. I'm like, oh yeah, she doing. The family agreeing with her. Then when she went out, she was like, I think she having a seizure. She was in ICU. It was like, no, she ain't having no seizure. She just didn't want to get stuck. So, instead of her refusing, she just have a seizure.
They got a diagnosis for that, and they call them pseudo seizures. They're not a real seizure; they're a fake seizure, but they call them pseudo seizures. But I just don't like them. I'm gonna treat you like you're having a seizure up until I figure out you're not.
And my ex had a seizure on me one time. He told me he had a seizure before, but I had never seen him have one. And he had one on me, and I left him because I didn't know what was going on. So I left
Oh my
him.
God!
I came back and I called
You're not gonna be my girlfriend no more.
He was still with me though.
I would have left you. Y'all gonna having a seizure, man.
I didn't know what was going on. That was my first time seeing, because my sister had one before, but I think she had like a partial seizure
Yeah.
because she came back out of it
Yeah.
so fast. So and his lasted for a long time, so I'm like, I didn't know.
Oh my gosh, probably brain damage.
Yeah,
Man, you're not my girlfriend no more. I broke up with
He
you.
had stopped taking his medicine because he was trying to smoke weed. So
He knew it was
yeah.
coming.
Yeah, he knew it was coming because he had them all time.
He probably thought weed would keep his seizures off of him too.
Yeah, and so he'll be walking, he'll just have a seizure in the road and everything. Like he used to have him running around. So
Dang.
I didn't know what was going on, so I left him. But I came back and I called 911. They came and
Amen.
like, all right.
And they're gonna pump him full of Dilan or something and get his levels back up. He need to take his medicine.
Yeah, they left him at the house. He was still at the house. He didn't want to go because he had came out about it.
Yeah, that's what they do.
Yeah.
I have seizures.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
You know, but you need to take your medicine too, because you can have another one in 5 minutes. And really,
Well,
brain
he
damage.
just went to sleep. He just, after he had
Yeah.
the seizure, he just went to sleep.
That's what they do.
When
I
I broke
bet
up
you
with him,
did.
'cause
I'm broke up. I'm broke up with you.
I broke up with him because I ain't have time to be doing all that. Like,
He just needed to take his medicine.
that's it, but I ain't.
He didn't want to take his medicine. Say, baby, eventually it might cause brain damage. Mess him up bad. He needs to learn
Yeah,
that.
that was my first time, and we had.
Because those are your synapses in there acting up.
That was the first seizure he had with me, and I said,
Po baby. Po man.
left him with his mama.
God. To diagnose that though, just know what that is. That is a brain disorder, repeated seizures. They may have staring spells. EEG is done for that. That's the one where they put the little electrodes on your brain instead of your chest. Chest is your EKG. Your head is EEG. Anything encephalo means head. So electroencephalogram. So underline that. That's for the brain. That's going to help you diagnose seizures and try to figure out where and when they're coming. It's hard. Yes, electroencephalogram. That's the ones where they put the same things, pretty much, but they're on the brain, on your head. Glaucoma is underlined. It causes damage to the optic nerve, and it's just like high blood pressure of the, high blood pressure of your heart. You got high blood pressure of your eyes. Too much pressure on that optic nerves can cause you to go blind. And if they ever tell you got glaucoma, you need the drops, and the drops are just like high blood pressure pills. That's what it does. It lowers the pressure in your eyes, just like it would if you had it above your body. But they call it intraocular pressure. It's just that pressure in your eyes. And it will damage you. What you need to diagnose it, of course, of eye exams. When you sit down in a little chair, get your eyes checked, and they do that puff of air. That's them checking for your pressure there. They'll do imaging. They'll do some better things, but that's going to start the let's check it out.
You ever got checked for cancer too?
Not nice. I have not seen that, but I'm sure.
I go to the doctor. He checked for cancer. Somebody started putting dilate your people and how they
That's a
dilate
dilation drop, man.
Yeah, but that is to check in the inside of your eye.
Yeah, just check to see your cancer.
But it's not for cancer.
But
They probably can't see if you got cancer or abnormal
She
growth.
told me that was something to do with that gave.
Because we always get dilated.
Yeah,
And that's so they can see the structures inside your eye. See if all them things in there is working right.
But it is something I got.
I see. But that's why they give those drops that make it dilate. So they can see back there.
Yeah.
So maybe they're looking for tumors.
Yeah.
Or a tumor could be cancerous or not. So
that's why they do the dilation.
Yeah.
most time it's just looking for the structures. And I'm sure they look for growth too. You know, yeah.
I don't need no drugs. I don't need to go on the
Yeah, most time they'll tell you they want to check it out. But treatment for glaucoma, underlying that, medication or surgery. A lot of times, medication. They give them the eye drops. Then come on over to 43 or other page, Parkinson's disease. And again, we're talking about the brain. Parkinson's disease is a neurological disease leading to degeneration of brain cells. Parkinson's disease, in general, is a degeneration of brain cells. Underline that.
What is it?
Degeneration of brain. Oh, Parkinson's. That's the one that people are shaking. And it's because their nerve endings and all their nerves and synapses are acted up. That's why they're shaking. You would make sure, like, if you give them something to drink, they had a lid on it. Kind of like you treat your toddlers. They may make a mess and pour things everywhere. If they're trying to take care of themselves, they're going to want to hold their own cup. But, you know, it's going to start going everywhere. So, we normally have a lid on it, a straw, something like that. Make it easier for them. Also, you can put your hand over their head and just help them. Some people still want to eat for themselves. You just put your hand over their hand and help stabilize them. They still got energy or muscles in there. It's just not cooperating with the brain. But they can. And you got some of them that are so stubborn, they like this. And food everywhere. And I'm like, you don't want no help. Nope, I got this. Because they want to eat for themselves. Some people think that is the last thing they want somebody to help them do is eat their own food. And they would be stubborn to the end. This man just, so we always put them on a protector, a clothing protector. We don't call them bibs, we call them clothing protectors when they're older. And let him make his mess. But he was going to feed himself. And some days he was better, some days he wasn't. Medications make him better, and then they change his medication. But just know that's shaking them. Or they may be stiffness in a limb or shaking. Underline that. And impairment of balance. Underline that. Those are also the ones that walk a little funny. They got smaller steps because they don't want to fall. So they're doing smaller steps trying to control them. They're going to see a neurologist, and we're going to do a physical exam of them. And treatment always depends on the progression, but most of the time they've got some type of medication that tries to help calm it down. Tumors. A brain tumor consists of a group of abnormal cells. Just underline that. It could be cancerous or not, but anything that's abnormally growing is a tumor. Now they're going to test that tumor possibly and see if it's malignant, which means cancerous, or not, which is benign. Those are the two types. You're either going to be benign, which is good, or malignant, which is bad. But a brain tumor consists of a group of abnormal cells. Symptoms in anything growing inside your brain can give you headaches, weakness, seizures, loss of balance, loss of alertness. If you ever seen somebody and they got to go in and check that tumor, hopefully it's not cancerous because they can remove it. And hopefully seizures. A lot of times anything that grows inside your brain is going to give you a seizure, just because it's mashing on something that shouldn't be getting mashed on. That's just what happens. They're going to diagnose it with CT scans, underline that, MRI, or tissue exam. That means they don't went in there and took a little piece. But CT is they're taking pictures, so it's your MRIs. Treatment. They done went to the worst part of the worst to see if it's cancerous. We're going to give radiation therapy, chemotherapy, and or surgery. And that's how the nervous system works.